Well, good morning, everybody. First of all, how about the music? Please help me thank Jim Wilson for his efforts this morning. Thanks so much, Jim. Well, on behalf of the Pittsburg Area Chamber of Commerce and the City of Pittsburg, it's my pleasure to welcome you this morning to the annual Mayor's State of the City address featuring the Honorable Mayor Monica Murnan. It's a time when we pause approximately halfway through the mayor's term and reflect on the last 6 months and look ahead to the second half of her term. And Mayor, given the amount of progress and successes we've experienced over the last 6 months, I can't wait to see what you have in store for us for the second term and the second half of your term, and we thank you for your leadership. Before we go any further, we would like to recognize a number of you that have stood in the mayor's shoes before, not literally, but you know the weight and responsibility that the mayor's position brings with it, and your efforts have laid the groundwork for many of the successes that are coming to fruition right now. So if all of the previous Pittsburgh mayors in attendance will stand and let us recognize you for your leadership. Round of applause. I would also like to recognize those at the head table. First of all, to my left, Pastor Mark Clayman with the Family Life Assembly of God. Drew Rhodes, who's our chairman of the board of the Pittsburgh Area Chamber of Commerce. Of course, Mayor Murnan, that you'll hear from in just a moment. And also a Pittsburgh City Commissioner and with Watco Companies, Michael Gray. Please, big round of applause for our head table. I would also like to recognize our corporate sponsors that help us make this event possible. If you will, a round of applause for each of them. First of all, the good folks at Names and Numbers. Thank you so much. Via Christi Hospital, right over here. Congratulations to Via Christi. Pittsburgh State University. And Watco Companies. You get all the applause on that one. All right, it's now my pleasure to introduce for this morning's invocation, Pastor Mark Lehman with the Family Life Assembly of God.
Good morning. Let's bow our heads and our hearts this morning. Father, we thank you for a wonderful day, awesome food, and a great city. We pray today for all those in leadership, government, business, nonprofit, to be firm in conviction and open to godly counsel. May the compassion of our conviction be pleasing in your sight. Remind us that the image of our wonderful city is irrelevant apart from the inhabitants that are made in your image. Remind us all that our influence is a stewardship. It's temporary, and we will be held accountable. In the name of the one who came to serve and not just to be served, Jesus. Amen.
So much, Pastor Lehman. Now, if you will all please rise for the posting of the colors by the Pittsburgh State ROTC. So much. Please be seated. Gentlemen, again, thank you for your service. It's now my pleasure to introduce, to give a community welcome. He's our chairman of the board of the Pittsburgh Area Chamber, Drew Rhodes. And Drew and I spent a lot of time discussing business issues and business trends, especially on the local level. And Drew reminded me that with the Royals, the Cardinals, the Chiefs, and the Gorillas all playing at the same time. Business productivity is down across the board in our community over the last 2 years. And in walks Ahmad with a Cardinal jersey because he's leaving for St. Louis immediately after the breakfast here. So point in fact right there. But if you will, please help me welcome our chairman of the board of the Pittsburg Area Chamber, Drew Rhodes.
Thank you. Well, it's October. I haven't had a chance to do this in quite a while, so how about them Royals? Friday, I get to go teach a class in entrepreneurship. Don't worry, it's not on your campus. It's with fourth graders, and I've got a feeling I'll have a better chance of getting them to do the Royals chant and learn about business. So, as a citizen and a business owner in Pittsburgh, I first want to start off by thanking each and every employee of the city for everything that you guys do to help our community and help our businesses. So thank you very much. As we head through fall and into winter, I selfishly want to thank the street department for clearing the roads of snow and ice so people can get groceries at our stores. So thank you guys very much, which, that's sales tax dollars, so it all works together. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and I plan on retiring here, and you always wonder what's it going to be like, 10, 20, 30 years down the road. I want to give a special thank you to the city and the county commissions for your support on the new Career and Technical Education Center, which will provide us a strong workforce in our community for years to come, and that's called paying it forward. I had the great opportunity over the last few years to get to know Monica, our mayor. And I will tell you that it never ceases to amaze me the progressive, forward-thinking, and leadership that Monica possesses. If there's a task that needs to be done, I can't imagine a better leader that I would rather follow than Monica. So I'm proud to call her my friend, our mayor, and I personally want to thank you for everything that you've done and everything I know you will continue to do. So thank you. And I want to thank all of you for having me here this morning. Thanks.
All right, now my pleasure to introduce the individual that gets to officially introduce the mayor. And if it looks familiar, and if it looks like you've seen this before with Commissioner Gray being up here, it's because he obviously was the mayor last year and gave this address and must have enjoyed it so much he came back for a second year. But here to introduce the mayor this morning, please help me welcome Pittsburgh City Commissioner Michael Gray.
Good morning, everyone. I don't know that I can compete with Drew's introduction. I guess I should just hand it over to Monica. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for the fine work they do every year. I don't know that we all appreciate some of the work that goes into events like this, and I want to thank Blake and Devin and Anna and all the team that works hard every year to put this together. So thank you very much to you guys. I also like to thank the city for everything they do. Of course, I'm maybe a little bit biased since I'm a city commission, but I think our city does a pretty good job of keeping things together and trying to improve each and every day. And that's really what it comes down to, is trying to improve on what we've done the past year. And what better leader to have with us today and guiding us this year than Monica. I'm kind of here in a dual role today, Waco and the city. Waco's very proud to be in a city like Pittsburgh. We call Pittsburgh home. We grow each and every year, and every year we decide to stay in Pittsburgh because it's our home. And so not only do I say this on behalf of the city, but then also on behalf of Waco, we're proud to have you as our mayor. I would echo Drew's comments. There's probably nobody that I know that is more passionate than Monica. Everything she does with passion, and she's brought that passion to the city commission as well. And very much appreciate everything you do for each and every day. So I guess I'll turn it over to you and let you get started. Thanks. Thank
you. We all know passion is code for just a little wacky. For guys like Michael, sometimes I push it a little far. So he didn't say it. No, he didn't. You'd never say it. Thanks for being my friend too. Couple things before we get started. You don't know this, but when there's public input at city commission meetings and I say 3 minutes, I mean it. And I have my phone and I actually time people. So I am going to time myself today, and I'm just going to go ahead and start that. All of you are breathing a sigh of relief so that you can get to work here in a little bit. The second thing is I am not a technology girl, but 2 years ago I took a big leap and I went to Greenbush, and it appears everybody there must be. And so typically I don't speak with PowerPoints because I am a high priestess of the Church of No PowerPoint. But for those of you in the academic setting, you appreciate the glazed over look one gets when the PowerPoint comes up. But I'm going to try something today. If it flops, yeah, you'll forget it by the time lunch comes around. But if it's good, you might remember it until lunch. So we're going to give it a shot here. Also, there's nothing like the panic of a Mac girl walking in and voice saying, "Oh, that doesn't work on a Mac." So that critter over there is a PC, and somebody tells me it's going to work, and I'm going to believe them. Okay, so that's setting the stage and lowering the bar just a little bit. Let's get going. First of all, to the Fox News girl, the lady in the back, I'm really sorry, but at some point, all these bangles and these flying hands, it's not going to be good for you. So you just need to know that. And I promise there's nothing that's worthy of a clip that I'm going to say. So sincerely, thanks a lot. This is the last thing that you had on your time to do today, but I think when Blake says it's time to take a pause, it's a good thing when you pause, even though we don't have the time to do that. But I hope in the next few minutes you'll take away a few things about our fine community, and I hope you'll remember some people that I talk about today. So I'm going to try really hard to stay on what I wrote out a couple hours ago. And I typically would be walking around, but in the effort of time, I'm not going to subject any of you to my teacher tricks, which if you start talking, I'll start walking closer to you. And so I'm not, Kathleen knows that trick. You just act like it's no big deal and you just keep moving. So, but talk among yourselves. I don't care, it's fine. So thanks for coming today. Thanks to the other commissioners who are here and the past commissioners who have served, who are here today. I'm sure you wanted to start your day by hearing a speech. No, let's correct that. An address. A phrase I use when thinking about Lincoln and Churchill, not myself. So let's set the stage and say this is a casual conversation. It's a list of observations from a volunteer who's interested and who is invested in this community. With that, I wanted to lay out some important information in a way that might be meaningful if you think about the world like I do, and if you do, I'm really sorry about that. But it makes every day interesting. I relate to numbers and figures and facts and data just fine. But what really makes me think, what makes me ponder, is the people in this community, people in general, and how they interact with systems. For some reason, over the years, that's become something I'm very interested in. The City of Pittsburg is a big system, one that is designed at its most basic level, like every other city in the state of Kansas. But what makes this system tick is the people and the interactions of those people with the systems they work with. Most people, I think, would agree that one of the things you remember about a person most is their face. I want to show you this morning some faces and have that casual conversation about important stuff. Thus, we can call it an address. So starting with that, here's a face. This is Ruby Moline. She's the Assistant Director of Finance here at the City of Pittsburgh. The Finance Division has updated several city policies, including purchasing, debt maintenance, revenue, and budget reserves. At this point, you're saying, geez, this is going to be a barn burner. Did she just say debt reserve policy? Yes, I did. Well, this may be the point where you're like, I am sure my phone is ringing. And you do something like, oh, look, I need to go. I'd like to point out something really important. The city is only as good as its infrastructure or policy. And nobody likes to write them. Nobody likes to read them, and nobody likes to follow them. But they are critical in ensuring citizens are treated fairly and that we are a steward, a good steward of tax dollars. The Finance Division completed a 5-year financial plan. We hadn't done that in a long time in this city. It helped facilitate the 2015 budget. If you want to see a work of art, I would recommend you spend about 5 minutes online at the city website and look at the 2015 budget. If you want to know where we're going, it's there. And also, the 5-year financial forecast allows the commissioners, like me, who truly just are volunteers, to try to be visionary instead of being reactionary. This next space is one that a lot of people know. At the City Parks and Recreation Department, there are so many people doing good jobs every day. This guy, you may know, is Greg Lopez. For 27 years, he made sure the pool worked right. Can you imagine if he didn't do his job right one day, what would happen? We'd have a serious situation here in town. And the rest of the year, he teaches school. At the city, we have a couple capital improvements that are, Parks and Recreation Department, that are critical to making sure things work safely and well. Here at Memorial Auditorium, doing some serious work to stage lifts. And you're like, stage lifts, do we have one? You're gonna know it if we don't, okay? And so we need to be focusing on things like safety and keeping operations going. And that's a major project that's gonna be happening, as is the aquatic center, and working on it and making sure what we used to call the new pool stays a good pool. I had to put this in. Kittyland is better than it used to be. Talking about a capital improvement that was not on the plan, but it needed to happen. So we're again talking about safety and about investments. After 7 years of fundraising, the Everybody Plays Playground at Schleimer Park will be constructed beginning October 15th. Points for tenacity. Good job. There's been an increase in activities downtown in Lincoln Park. It's people like Greg that make Parks and Rec Department all hours of the day, every day of the week work. This nice guy, his friends call him Cece. I don't know him that well, so I'll call him Charles Bass. While overall incident call load is up 23% for the fire department in comparison to 2013, the focus has been on prevention and on inspections to aid in prevention. Charles and the others of the fire department continue to respond on a daily basis to both the most complex and the most simple of requests from the citizenry. Hold on just a second, I don't want to blather on here just a minute. They're doing that through a couple things. They're doing that through a lot of education, and most importantly, they're doing that from paying attention. One of the key roles in any organization. This guy, even though his face looks like he's 12, he's not. This is Eric Van Biesler, and through the public safety sales tax, some critical things have happened. Let's not technical here, because one thing I have learned as mayor, those fire guys are really technical. And I just shake my head sometimes. But this is the way I see it. We've added equipment so firefighters can breathe, so that they have clothes that they can wear that can protect them, and they have trucks that will get them where they need to go and spray a whole lot of water. I don't know much, but those all seem like good things to me, and I'm glad we did it. Most importantly, the sales tax dollars have allowed for this. With a very young workforce, it is critical that we are providing education and training, everything from how to use the gear to its maximum potential, to how to respond to every one of those very complex and very simple needs. We're investing in our young staff in ways we weren't able to do before. The passage of the public safety sales tax has allowed for people like Pam McCovens at the PPD to do things that they have known, should, and could have been done for many years, but they simply did not have the resource to do. Adding a technology backbone to replace the 90s system has opened up many options for our staff. In fact, the first intelligence bulletin produced by our new criminal analysis led directly to an arrest. Much like my little simplistic view of the importance at the fire department, here's how I can see the police department. More sworn staff, more responsible folks on the street, more prevention, tools to do a very dangerous job. While the overall crime rate continues to decline in our community, we recognize property crime and issues of social disorder remain at the forefront of our concerns for our citizens. These faces are on it. When I was running for this job and said, oh, I'll do it if somebody wants me to do it, I really only knew one thing, and that the housing stock in our community needed some attention. Craig McCullough and the other folks over at that department are paying attention. The city has realigned the division and renamed it for what it really is, planning and community services. The key part of the plan is now in place. The housing needs assessment is a recent, comprehensive look at what is and what should be in Pittsburgh in the area of housing. Look for serious movement on this issue in the next year. A complicated housing assistance program called Section 8 allows for families to live in safe homes while landlords receive funds to keep those homes safe and affordable. That's only one of the forms of direct service that they provide in that department. This space can talk to you about a lot of things, including demolition, rehab, and downtown living. This space doesn't work for the city of Pittsburgh, but reflects what good economic development policy looks like. Dr. Lance Jepson is a new pediatrician at Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas. Dr. Jepson is just one of hundreds of faces that took new jobs that were created by cooperation of businesses in our community and the collaboration with the efforts of the revolving loan fund. Multiple strategies must be used and be in place to reflect best practice in economic development. Several years ago, when I first started talking about economic development, I was pretty sure I was the only one in the room who did not really know what it was. It took about a minute to realize nobody really knows what economic development is. We just say it very casually and often. But what I have found throughout the years is that people do, in their gut, know what it is. It's about using multiple strategies, and it's about getting it right. Even if it doesn't work the first time, doing it again. One big thing that I did learn is that an educated workforce is key. The creation of the Southeast Kansas Career and Technical Center is, excuse this highly technical jargon, a big stinking deal. It really, really is a big deal. Watch this space. Big things to come. 5 years removed from losing the largest private employer and seeing an unemployment rate approach double figures, the Pittsburgh economy has rebounded to a level not seen in more than a generation. That's a pretty big statement. I read that twice. I double-checked her. You were right. The latest numbers from the Kansas Department of Labor show the Pittsburgh area economy has added almost 400 jobs in the last year alone. Going back 3 years, that number swells to over 2,200 new jobs created since July of 2011. Lots of faces getting it right. This space is in front of a great big brain. Jeez, you really just want to surround yourself with people like us. We're the big brains in the room. I really need to be close to them. I've had no need to be humble in this. This guy took a big risk when he took a job called Director of Innovation. It's kind of like agreeing to give an address. It's kind of big expectations. But what the task really means is let's innovate, let's make things go, let's make things better for those that we serve. Through a coordinated effort among all departments, our city now has easy access to everything from building permits to getting their water turned on. There are lots of things I observe but do not understand. Ask Douglas Stuckey, depreciation is one of them. And one other thing that I'm now adding to my list is this concept of a technology backbone, which I casually throw around now as if I know what it means. But I do know when things aren't right, or when people don't have the tools to do their job. Through the efforts of the Department of Innovation and Jay's leadership, those things are happening. I also know that a concentrated, coordinated, and complex effort has been non-stop since Darren and Jay arrived in the burg. Thanks, and just keep going. Back to systems. My walking friends make fun of me, thank God they're not here because they would do it right now, because I tend to talk about things like wastewater treatment. I also do things for those who travel with me. I take photos of water treatment plants and then quickly email them to Dr. Bailey. Now other people take pictures of, beautiful mountains, and I take pictures of those because for some reason they intrigue me. This next space is a classic example of systems and their human interactions. It's a general rule of thumb, I believe, in life that most people do not like to deal with compliance, especially with KDH&E and the EPA. This guy and his co-workers not only do it, they do it well. Chris Farinacci and the staff at the wastewater treatment plant has currently completed a major upgrade none of you will ever know about, you will never see, but I promise you'll care if it doesn't work. And it's been almost a year in duration and will allow the city utilities monitoring systems to not only take care of us today, but long into the future. The safety of the citizens is key. It's not just about police cars and breathing apparatus. It's about control of hazardous waste and protecting the environment. This space obviously works someplace that has a professional photographer. Malcolm. The rest of us used our iPhones. Thank you very much. She was also gone, so Tammy couldn't put her up against the wall for the classic mug shot that the rest of you are seeing. Amy Height is an example of how the city works very hard to make sure we're gathering input from all different places. Recently, we created an active transportation board, and Amy was one of the folks that volunteered to serve on that board. I use her as an example of somebody who has a full-time job. They take care of their family, take care of their kids, but along with the people on the Economic Development Advisory Committee, the Planning and Zoning Committee, the Library Board, on and on and on and on, they throw their 2 cents in and they care. And we thank you for doing that, because that helps in planning and helps us, again, not be reactionary. Here's a face. Those are 2 phrases I like. I really like them. I don't know why. They're very meaningful to me. And people like Terry Bradshaw know what that means, but they may not use those phrases every day. The new emergency generator at the water treatment plant arrived without any fanfare. I personally think it should have been in the homecoming parade, but it was not. You know, you ask me for my advice, and I give it to you, and you don't follow it. The generator will allow the water treatment plant to continue to operate in the event of a power loss and a major natural disaster. Hopefully we'll never have to use that. The provision of safe drinking water is paramount in natural disaster. A lot of the professional opportunities I have been given circle around this concept of building capacity in kids, in families, in communities. This guy knows about building the capacity for our municipality to be a source of clean water for not just our community, but also for others, as precious resources become scarce. It will happen, and we are ready. The capacity has indeed been built. Gotta love that face, don't you? This funding braid that follows behind this gal is a complicated one. The infrastructure behind the Pittsburgh Public Library supports those efforts, and people like Andy Peterson are the ones that are doing it every day. In the near future, there will be a need to decide if the library is a valuable part of our infrastructure or not. I believe that discussion is over. It is. For those of you who need some numbers, because I know there's a few of you here who are starting to twitch, she hasn't given us any bullet points of data yet. Here's some from the library. $12,000 from the Friends of the Library, selling used books, doing other things. Here's a couple good numbers. In 2013, the number of programs offered, 599. Attendance at those programs, 19,998. These people are so stinking honest, they don't even round up to 20,000. They obviously are not business people, are they? Summer 2014 alone, 99 programs in 8 weeks. I'm just tired. Total attendance, 9,597. Those are faces walking through doors that blended and braided funding support. This guy is thrilled not only to be called to City Hall, but also to be asked to take his hat and shades off. I really had hoped Mr. Sarley was just going to leave on his normal garb. This is Mike Sarley. Recently I was driving home and I saw a guy out in the field and he was twisting something. I could tell he was twisting. I saw a city truck and I thought, oh, it's Mr. Sarley, which we referred to him as Mr. Sarley because he was a 4-H dad, just like I was a 4-H mom. And it was Mr. Sarley, and I thought to myself, that's not good. Mr. Sarley's out twisting something in a field. A few hundred feet down the road, I saw water flowing in places it should not be. It was indeed not good. As this nosy neighbor watched people and trucks and equipment arrive, I nosy down the street to check in with Mr. Sarley. You know what he says? It's no big deal. I mean, there's like water flying and men up to their neck, and you know, then there's pumps and lines. No idea, we do this all the time. You gotta love that. You really, really gotta love that. What he so casually says is really not a big deal. It's actually a complex system of leveraging state, federal, and local funds and coordination of everything from a massive replacement of water lines at 20th and Broadway and the Centennial and Rouse Project to my little flood on 14th Street. We aren't just talking about pipes of all sizes and shapes. We're talking about data collection, technology integration, and good old-fashioned hard work. Now this guy wore his hat. Gotta love that face with a hat. This is Lonnie Wells. Lonnie Wells is an excellent example of how we have, with our city street sales tax, we have combined both the use of private contractors and city employees to get the job done on time and under budget. Combining the best of private world and streets and public world of streets, through sales tax dollars and federal and state funds. The Broadway Centennial Project, do I even need to mention that? Over $1 million, looks great. Broadway and 20th intersection, well on its way for big improvements. With those two projects alone, we're looking at $3 million. The street sales tax improvement will fall off in the spring of 2014. I am sure we will be asking you to continue to support that, because I believe everybody knows that those dollars, that pay-as-you-go theory, is working for us in this community. It's a combination of multiple strategies to address various needs. It's a good way to work. I love that face. In 1971, that face served on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And then that face in 77 went on the City Commission, and then in 78, she had this fine job of volunteering. This face is Mary Kate Sullivan. She knows, and she's been an observer for many years. When I asked her if I could borrow her face, she said to me in an email, "I really don't do much anymore, Monica. I just give people rides to the doctor, take my friends to the grocery store." It's about quality of life, it's about investments, and it's about strong communities, not just a strong city. There's a base. Property tax, recycling old books, and money out of individual people's generous pockets is the investment made in this space. Megan Delaney recently won the drawing contest at the Young Adult Services program at the library. She got her a prize there. See it? It's like gold. Little stuff like this improves quality of life and creates a strong community. And I would argue that it creates a safe community. That's Clyde. He was born yesterday. As far as I know, because I'm not asking any questions, he's the newest citizen of Pittsburgh. There may have been one snuck in under the wire last night, but don't tell me Michael Hayslip. Because how can you beat a name like Clyde? I'm thinking there's a pattern in this system and a pattern in my comments. It's all about investments of time, resources, and efforts. It's all about taking a chance and jumping. After planning and making sure you are jumping off the right ledge to get to the right place. The next 4 minutes are going to be the best part of your day. Thanks for your time today. Thanks for all you do. And for those of you playing along at home, we're at 26 minutes. Thanks.
Great job, Mayor Bernand. Thank you so much for your leadership and the leadership that you and your fellow city commissioners and Darren and city administration offer. I would add one more theme to why things work so well here in Pittsburgh, and that is collaboration. And I was reminded of this yesterday at a KDOT local consult meeting where we were obviously there advocating for continued progress on Highway 69. And this meeting featured communities from around southeast Kansas. And from each community, I counted maybe 2 or 3 people from each community there pushing their projects. Your delegation from Pittsburgh numbered a dozen and featured representatives from not only the city and the chamber, but Pittsburgh State University, the private business community, all there working for a common cause. And that's something we do every day in this community. I think sometimes we take it for granted, whether it's a highway project, whether it's the Plaster Indoor Event Center at Pittsburgh State, whether it's the new Southeast Kansas Career and Technical Education Center. We pull together, we get things done, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot of good things happening. So thanks for being a part of the team. Thanks again for your leadership, Mayor, and for what you and the city staff do on a daily basis. I would be remiss if I didn't thank 2 people. Commissioner Gray mentioned there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that makes this event happen. Anna Goody and Tammy Nagel, will you stand up and let us recognize you for what you do? Well, that concludes this morning's program. Thanks to you all for coming out. Thank you for our sponsors for making today possible. Thank you again to the mayor for your remarks. And with that, we are adjourned. Have a great day.